Hello and welcome to the introduction setup video, whatever you call it, for Yakuza 0. The reason I cut off the introduction video, by the way, is because it's quite spoiler heavy. So I didn't necessarily want to spoil it for whoever might have never seen this game before. I've long wanted to do a series of this game, but because I didn't have a decent controller, I have decided against it. I'm fully aware of the fact that there are thousands and thousands of people who've already done playthroughs of this game, and that's perfectly fine for me. My channel is about game appreciation, and when I initially heard of the Yakuza franchise, I was thinking the Mafia franchise, which I didn't find particularly enjoyable, because for me it just felt like it was excessively violent for no real purpose. I know it had some sort of story and all that, but it felt to me like the story was more tacked on to give you some breaks from shooting people and whatever else you did. And I never found that enjoyable, and because of course Yakuza is somewhat related, I was thinking that Yakuza probably wasn't for me either. That was years ago, of course, when you heard whispers of the franchise more so than anything. But then I watched completely randomly Let's Play of Yakuza 0, and I watched a handful of episodes, and then I completely and utterly fell in love with this game without owning it. That was rectified shortly after that, and it went straight into my top 5 list of best games I've ever played. I cannot place it more specifically than in the top 5, but it's definitely one of the best games I've ever played. There is no denying that. For reference, and this is bits of information I picked up here and there, I can't say that it's solid information, but as far as I can gather, the Yakuza series was initially a Japanese-only franchise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 was made. At least 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4 was already made when they made this game, Yakuza 0, which is a prequel to the first Yakuza game. Some people are saying that it was partially to reinvigorate the franchise, but also to see if there was any potential interest in the Western world for the Yakuza franchise that Zero was created. And basically Zero's main purpose is to set up 2 of the main characters in the franchise. Definitely the main character, but also an extremely strong supporting character. Not support, they're virtually equal in prominence. Some people love one more than the other. I think they're both cool, but I personally have a higher preference of the main character than the other character. But it's a bit like choosing between 2 dishes that you absolutely love, and you have to choose which one you love more. It's a bit. Because of the setting, the game can be rather rough and outright brutal at times, and I have to emphasize that this is a mature game for a reason, and it will have elements which are not very pleasant. It will have some sensual moment, not sexual. There's implied sensuality, implied erotic moments, but never anything further than that. Well, I mean, you could argue that there are some parts which are a bit more than implied, but not in a showing naked bodies all over the place. That is not something that you will find in this game. So I don't know whether that's putting anyone off, but it has to be mentioned. But because of the fact that there's so much more to this game than just the Yakuza side of it, it is what makes this game absolutely brilliant. Because one moment you see the most aggressive display of, well, not necessarily violence, but action. And then on the next moment, you are helping someone who's struggling to become a dominatrix. Yeah. One thing I will love, actually, is the fact that the developers seem to have looked into how the Western world see Japanese culture and just run with it and said, okay, you know what, this is how you think Japanese culture is. Yeah, we're going to serve it in your face and we're going to be proud of doing it. And to be honest, it is those elements, that those things where the game has no shame. It is not vulgar, it is not rude or anything, but it has no shame. And to be honest, I think that is so refreshing and so endearing in many ways. It's also a bit awkward at times, there's no denying that, but it is definitely a case of a game where you have many individual parts coming together into a coherent whole, which is, to coin a phrase, more than just the sum of the parts. I did not expect to like this game when I first heard about it, and as I said, it is one of my top 5 most favorite games ever. And that's not something I say lightly. I need to emphasize that I haven't played any game like this using a controller for an awful long time, so I hope there's no wonkiness in the videos. There might be. I will probably screw up from time to time, but I'll try to get used to it. And I have to give the developer quite a bit of kudos for the mouse and keyboard support given to the PC version. It is definitely at its best in Yakuza 0. In Kiwami 1 and 2 it feels, not so much in 2, but in 1 it definitely feels very stiff. And I haven't played it with controller yet. I own 0, 1, 2 and Like a Dragon. But in this game, the reason I've been waiting to get a decent controller is because of the combat. Because using mouse and keyboard, you fight with the mouse. And of course you also control the camera with the mouse. So you may not notice it when you're playing, that the camera is flying all over the place when you're fighting, because of course when you're pressing the button you are slightly moving the mouse, which of course causes stuttering of the camera. But trust me, if you record it and look at your playback, it looks like an earthquake. Which is why I've been waiting for a controller, because of course the camera, unless I use the right analog stick, will remain somewhat static. So we're going to find out how that's going to pan out. I've had some feedback concerning video length, and I know for some people it will be frustrating and for other people it will be perfectly fine, but my aim is to have the videos at about 20-25 minutes, 25 minutes being the absolute upper limit, and each part will be linked using the cards on YouTube. And I will spend 10-15 seconds just doing a quick reminder between parts what happened in the previous episode. It may be a bit jarring if you're watching 2, 3, 4, 10 episodes in a row, but For those who are watching on 2 episodes, come back 2 weeks later, they can catch up and get a quick reminder of where we are, whereabouts we are. So this introduction was probably a bit longer than I anticipated it to be, but I want to make absolutely sure that we are on the same page. And in the next part, we'll get into the game itself. Before doing that, I should say that this game franchise is very cutscene heavy. And there will be quite a few somewhat lengthy cutscenes. And the only dialogue option, spoken dialogue option, is in Japanese, which some people are very, very happy about. I don't think the English voiceover in Like a Dragon is inferior to the Japanese in any way, shape, or form. But I'm not going to talk over any cutscenes. I will probably be reading out any printed text which is relevant because of dialogue, but anything spoken I will not talk over. I want the game to speak for itself, even though it is in Japanese. So on that note, thanks for watching this introduction, and I hope you will follow me on the journey through Yakuza 0, a game I definitely praise extremely high. So, thanks for watching, take care, see you in the next part. Bye bye for now.